Well, 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 well. Look
That's a lot of
who's
wells.
back. This is Take the Black, the weekly show where we discuss all things sci-fi fan. Thank you for saying anyway. Sci-fi fantasy movies and TV. I am Dan Selcke, editor of Windows.net. And for the first time in a few weeks, we have back our regular co-host, dearly missed, Daniel Roman, another
Oh,
editor at WindowsComing.net. Daniel, good to have you back. How are
hey,
you?
hey. I'm good. I'm very glad to be back. Was it total chaos and madness while I was gone? Did you
I did
wish I would stay away? What was it like?
I didn't want to say anything, but the people who I got to replace you, I'll just say that two of them were great and one of them was so bad. I can't even express how awful they were.
Wow.
Which one was it?
Okay.
I don't want to say. I
The
prefer to leave it a
shade.
mystery, but everyone who watched knows. No, they
Okay.
were all very great. It was a lot of fun while you
Excellent.
weren't here. But I'm glad to have you back. And you can interview it. And of course, I'm glad to see everyone else here. Hey, Julie, Martha, Christian. Thanks everybody tuning in today. Of course, as always, we have a big stack show for you. Although I have to mention, if you're wondering, I want to mention this. I feel like I have to.
Okay.
I have a big
Okay.
fat growth on my
Get
right
ahead of it.
eye. It's called a sty. It's unsightly. I know. You don't have to point it out. You don't have to call me the elephant
Okay.
man. I know it's there. It's a gland thing. The gland leaks too much. I had another one here on the other eye of
That's
like several
brutal.
shows back, and then I got rid of it.
Yeah.
They injected me full of steroids, and it went away. And now this one grew on the other eye, on the
Went to
other
the
lid.
other eye.
Ridiculous, absurd. Why isn't medical science doing anything about this? So I have
This is like
creams
the
for
B
it. I
plot
have
line
pills.
from The
It's
Last of
horrible.
Us. It's just finding a way to keep persisting no matter how you get rid of it. I'm so sorry.
From the what?
I just picked like The Last of Us. Insert apocalyptic thing here. It will not be thwarted by mere modern medicine.
Has anybody here ever had a sty? Does anybody get? I went from not knowing what these things were to being an expert on them in a matter of months, and now I just want to commiserate with other sty guys. But we can.
Sty guys.
That's what I'm calling it. But that's another topic. Daniel, what are we talking about in terms of the world of pop culture today?
Yes. So first, just want to say thank you, Julie. Thank you, Martha. It is good to be back. Today we're getting into mainly some House of the Dragon stuff, some rumors flying around from the set, which play into some stuff we've been wondering here for quite a while. Some more fuel got thrown on the fire for some of these rumors in the past week, so we want to discuss that, and then we're going to be hitting up the Witcher a little later on and a few other things later on. But for right now, let's start with House of the Dragon.
Let's do it.
So, Dan, I think you probably know a little bit more about this. So the big thing that we're going to be talking about here today is Addam of Hull, who is an important character in George R.R. Martin's book Fire and Blood. We've been hoping we'd see them next season, but we've had more than a few reasons to fear we might not. And now it seems like Addam may be in the show, even though we didn't think he was going to be originally. So what's the deal here, Dan?
Okay.
Should we be excited, scared?
Interested, I think. It's a weird situation. Okay. So Fire and Blood, the book on which House of Dragon is based, has a character named Addam of Hull, who is a really good character. He's like this young upstart, like I'm gonna make it, gosh darn it, however I can, kind of peasant guy who becomes a dragon rider. I love that, because Game of Thrones didn't really have a lot of peasant characters, but now in season 2 there's a few kind of low-born folk who are going to ride dragons because they need dragon riders really badly, and they're willing to entertain the idea of peasants doing it. A character called Nettles, she's really great. And there's Addam of Hull, who's just like a young guy with a twinkle in his eye who wants to make good. It's very earnest and likable, which is something you always have on these shows. Now, Addam of Hull in the books is supposedly, this is what the people are saying around Dragonstone and the rumors, the bastard son of Corlys Valerian, who played by Steve Toussaint. I see everybody recommending a gold ring. I recall you recommending that last time for my sty too. and I didn't do it, and it didn't work, so I'm gonna have to do it this time.
I do remember them mentioning that last time, so might be time to get a gold ring and put a ring on it. Yeah. So the rumors for Addam in Fire and Blood. So we're not talking about set rumors.
Yeah.
We're talking about in-world rumors.
That's
A lot of people say he is Laenor Valerian's son.
Well,
but
I mean,
it's
but
like
Laenor Valerian's super
widely
gay, so that's probably not true.
Yes. Well, that's like the public story. They're Laenor's kids. The Addam and his brother Aelin. Or Alan. It's probably Alan.
Yeah, I think it's Alan.
Well,
if they say it's
Aelin,
I'll be irritated. Don't say it dumb. It's Alan.
You'll be irritated. Yeah, so
it went to my eye. But yeah,
the
so
rumor
Addam
in the story is that he's Laenor's son, but everyone knows that probably means they're Corlys's sons.
Yes,
so
Addam and his brother.
It's a mess
Alan
in the first place.
So anyway, we know that Addam of Hull, who is Addam's brother, who does not ride a dragon, is going to be in the show. He's going to be played by an actor named Abubakar Salim, who said he's having a lot of fun. Like, he's on the set, he's tweeting about it, which I love, because I hope actors break NDA and just tweet about what they're doing. I hope they post pictures. It's all good. So Mr.
I love
Salim,
that he's been tweeting about it.
Just keep bringing that. But the rumor has been that they might just cut Addam of Hull from the show and replace him with Laenor Valerian, who died in the book but survived on the show. They let him off, even though they should have murdered the hell out of him, but they didn't because they're bad at their jobs. So he was able to get away on the show.
The shade.
And well, it is a bad decision. And the thinking was maybe they'll just bring him back. He's also Corlys Valerian's son, and he rode the dragon Sea Smoke, which is the dragon that Addam takes over in the story. And then they'll just have Laenor do Addam's stuff. And none of the we have anyway, and this is very complicated with no pictures. I'm sorry. But so what so then we get a set report from Wales where they're all up a filming stuff on Driftmark Dragonstone, and we have Abubakar Salim, who is playing Alan. He's around. We have John McMillan, who is playing Laenor. He's around. So he's back one way or another. He's returned from wherever he went.
That's confirmed. Yeah, John McMillan will be back next season as Laenor, which we weren't sure about.
We weren't, and he is. We don't know what role he was playing. And then we also have a guy named Clinton Liberty, who according to a local Welsh outlet, reported through a string of uninterrupted consonants that a actor named Clinton Liberty is playing Addam of Hull.
Yes.
So maybe Addam of Hull will be in the show, but also Laenor Valerian is coming back. And Alan of Hull is there too, so I don't know where that leaves us. So Laenor will replace Addam, but Addam of Hull will actually be in the show anyway, or Addam of Hull will just have his role and Laenor will do something else. Or they're doing one of those trick things where they have John McMillan come back and just walk around set in costume to trick us into believing that Laenor's coming back, but it actually won't happen.
Yes. They're taking a page out of the Game of Thrones playbook. Didn't they do that in season 8? They filmed a scene with Cersei and someone just to throw people off.
I remember they had the actress who played Shay on the set of season 6, whose name is Sybil Kelly. That's the one. And we were all like, "Oh my God, Shay's in Marine. It's gonna be a dream. What's happening? Maybe it's her twin sister." Blah 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 blah. But I don't think we need to go there. I'm going to assume.
No, I don't think so either.
Until proven otherwise, that this is just going to be what's happening, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't like it. I know what should have happened. But I'm interested in what they're doing. What do you think?
I'm really interested. I am glad to hear these reports.
I agree, Julie.
I am hopeful, more hopeful than I have been hearing these reports that there is apparently an actor playing Addam who is there.
That's nice.
Because the idea of Laenor taking Addam of Hull's place, like a lot of people leapt to the conclusion that that could have happened because, like you said, they spared Laenor. Laenor is alive in the show, and he is like clearly not in the book. He dies in a
Oh
very
yeah,
public way in the book, so there's not really any ambiguity. Even though Fire and Blood is a fairly ambiguous book with a lot of these events, Laenor's
yes,
death is not one of them.
I know. It's like it's
So
one of the events that isn't ambiguous, and that's the one they chose to mess with. It's really weird, but okay, go on.
yeah, it is a weird decision. I agree with you. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. I'm reserving judgment rather until I see what they were going to do with it, because having him come back as Addam to me is like folly, because Addam has to be, he interacts with Rhaenyra, he interacts with Corlys, he's at court in several instances. There's just no way that Laenor Velaryon could pass as not Laenor Velaryon surrounded by all these people who knew him.
Or they just
so the
rewrite the thing completely, that he just comes back, and that means that we just lose everything Addam of Hull is, which is bad because he's a cool character from the book, and I want to see him around.
Yes, Addam of Hull has a great plot line. He's almost reminiscent of like Jon Snow a little bit. He's a bastard. He's a noble born bastard who is basically trying to prove that that bastards are not bad, because there are all sorts of stereotypes about bastards being untrustworthy in this world and things like that. So for Addam, this idea of like loyalty, like he has said he is going to fight for, Rhaenyra and the Blacks and whoever,
and he sticks to his word,
even when they doubt him
against challenges. It's a good story, and I want to see it.
And you apparently may get to see it, because if Clinton Liberty is playing this character, which we don't know for sure yet, but if they are, then maybe we're getting Addam of Hull.
I mean, like the Welsh news outlet said it. They're not infallible.
Yes.
But, it's not like just some random rumor on TikTok. It's like someone with some authority said this, and I hope it's true.
Yeah. So let me ask you something, because I think it's curious.
TikTok.
Obviously, they are aging up at least some of these characters. Like Clinton Liberty as an adult, Abu Bakar Salim, he played Father in Raised by Wolves. He is clearly an adult, and these are like young teenagers in the book,
which I don't like. I wish they had stuck to like the plucky upstart story, but whatever. At least they're around.
I do too. It's always hard with these shows and the ages. Even a lot of the kid characters in Game of Thrones were aged up from the very young ages they are in the books. So that's always a weird thing. I guess my question is, if we are getting Addam of Hull, why is HBO playing so coy about this? Like, they confirmed Alan. Why, if they're not pulling some trickery with Laenor and Addam, why not just tell us who's playing Addam of Hull? I don't understand the reasoning.
Well, I have two theories. One is that they want to hurt me, and that's succeeding.
It's probably that one.
Yeah. The other is that it is some stupid trickery, and they do think they have some better idea than the story, and they're wrong, but they're going to do it anyway. And that's why. Probably that one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the other thing I'm curious about is if Addam and Alan and Corlys and Laenor are all in the mix. Like, we've wondered, how would they bring back Laenor? And there are any number of ways that they could, right? I think you made a joke a while back that they could bring him back just to have him fall down the stairs and break his neck or something, which is like, it'd be such a George R. R. Martin type solution to have him get away and then die in this super mundane way.
Choke on a sandwich.
There you go. Exactly. Oh, I don't know if you guys can hear it. If you hear sounds, it's because I have a tin roof and it is pouring here right now.
Oh, quaint.
I can hear it in my microphone. But yeah, so setting aside the fact that you hate this, because I know you hate this.
I could get past it.
Can we, like, what sort of situation could we imagine where Laenor and those three other characters are all together? Like, do you think Laenor is going to come back and throw huge monkey wrenches into stuff on Dragonstone or with the dragon seeds?
The thing that I heard from one of our commenters that I like best is that Laenor is not actually going to come back to Westeros, and he will take care that he just happens to be on set and they're filming multiple locations in one area, and that he is going to find
which is possible.
It's possible. Just give me a bone here. That he's going to be one of the Associan lords who takes care of Rhaenyra's and Daemon's kid who gets shipwrecked and lost on Essos for a while. Because that happens to Rhaenyra's kids.
Yeah.
Like, she sends them off in a galley to Essos because it's dangerous for them to be around while the war is happening. And their ship is attacked, and one of them makes it back to Dragonstone, and then the other is presumed dead, but is actually just being raised in obscurity on Essos for a while. And maybe Laenor does that.
Yeah.
I doubt it.
That would be cool. That would be a compelling sort of story if Laenor got to still be in, one of Rhaenyra's kids' lives, because like he raised those kids too. So like that, I could see that being a really there's meat on the bone storytelling wise for something like that. I think it's something where Laenor is relevant to those kids in some way.
He's used to
these are the young kids
born by a woman he's married
kids.
to, who he did not actually contribute any genetic material to. No, he did not. He hasn't met him.
Okay. Well, I take everything I just said back then, and we'll see what happens, because
you do.
It would still be interesting because it's raising one of Rhaenyra's kids, but Laenor doesn't have a connection to the kid we're talking about. I don't remember which one it is, but he's already out of the picture by the time
he's very used to raising
kids.
Rhaenyra's kids, even though he contributed no genetic material.
Yes, that's true. Which is
one of his
keep that virtues, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of his better qualities.
So that's the deal with House of the Dragon. We, a lot of big questions about what exactly is going on. The filming is in full swing. We don't know exactly how the writer's strike is affecting this stuff.
Yeah.
It sounds like from a recent HBO exec comment that they're kind of filming what they can and just making notes for things they'll have to reshoot after, which I think if you're gonna keep filming during the writer's strike, that's probably like one of the best ways they could go about it. But
yeah,
it still makes me nervous though.
I mean, at this point, we're almost a month and a half into the writer's strike, and there's been like no movement.
We're on week 7, I think.
Yeah. From folk coming to the table.
I saw one of the Russos tweeting about how the studio execs are very mad that they haven't broken the WGA's spirits yet. But here we are, I think we're on week 7 or week 8, so the strike goes on. We're going to hit on some small strike news later on. There's nothing too crazy. Like you said, there hasn't been a lot of movement in the past week or two.
You know, the Russos are like slowly turning into internet villains. Like the ones talking about how to use
the other
AI.
one.
Gotcha. The one who isn't into AI. Which one made Citadel?
AI one tweeted. One is talking about AI, one is tweeting about the writer's strike. I don't. It's like a Captain America Civil War is happening in their family.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know you Russos. Don't get mad at me if you happen to watch our podcast.
Which I'm sure you do. They both made Citadel, and that thing apparently was quite a big bomb. Which
was it? I haven't heard anything about the data.
I guess there were reports that like it didn't break into the top like 10 streaming series at any point that it was on, which I'm surprised by because it was pretty boring. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
you can put that thing on the side of however many buses you want. It's still not going to make it terribly interesting to watch.
Yeah. I think the concept of Citadel as a global series is interesting. I just don't know that the series itself has the legs. I haven't seen it, and I haven't really heard from anyone who saw it and was blown away. Even though I love Richard Madden and Priyanka Chopra, I would gladly watch them and stuff.
Even the concept though was a little dicey because it was one of those things that was like working backwards from we want a mega global franchise that we can market. What would be a good fit for that rather than here's a good idea that we can maybe turn into a global franchise.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
Citadel's
totally.
past. We don't need to talk about Citadel. What's next on the agenda, Daniel?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's carry on to another franchise. I'm going to refrain from crapping on and just try to be excited about today. The Witcher has a new trailer that came out last week. The Witcher Season 3, Volume 1 comes out on June 29th, which is only 2 weeks away. So that's the first 5 episodes of Season 3, and we got a better look at it in this latest trailer. So I figured we could watch it. We could maybe talk about some of the more notable things in it. What do you think, Dan? You ready to go to the continent?
Let's head over to the... That's a yes.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's hit.
Here we have a statue.
Yes, here we have a statue. Let's pause. Can we pause on that ruin? We'll pause right at
I actually know that scene.
That's nice.
That Sherera wood or whatever called, right?
Yeah, I was hoping one of us knew how to pronounce it. It's not me.
I'm probably getting it wrong.
Well,
Sherera
close enough. Yeah, Sherowed, something like that. So this is an elven ruin. This scene is from actually the preceding book. It was something that didn't make it into season 2. It's from Blood of Elves. And yeah, it's one of the better scenes in Blood of Elves, and it's kind of a rumination on neutrality, because Geralt's whole thing is, I'm neutral, I don't get involved in politics, and kind of the closer he gets to his foster daughter, who is a princess, so obviously politics, the less he's able to stay neutral. So it's interesting. I'm really glad that they brought this scene back. They're obviously changing things because Yennefer's there, and she was not at Sherowed in the books. Any thoughts on this set piece before we move on?
I recall it from the book. I recall it being a scene that I liked, and I'm glad it's going to be in the show. I mean, the thing with Yennefer is that the last season involved her trying to murder Ciri to get her powers back, and now they have to act like everything's fine. It's going to be a hard sell. But if any writing team can pull it off, it's not this one. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Baseline, there are some other elements to the Sherowed scene in the book that I doubt are going to make the leap into the show, because there's a whole thing about the humans basically betraying the dwarves a little bit, revolving around this and kind of treating them like second-class citizens. This has to do with the elven guerrilla fighters, the Scoia'tael, who we'll be seeing quite a lot next season.
And thank you for pronouncing that.
Yes, I've played the game, so I have lots of practice for that one.
Nice.
But yeah, so I'm glad. I think thematically this probably fits the theme of the season pretty well, that they decided to put this in here. The idea of the neutrality and that being tested.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, let's carry on.
And Julie, as watching The Witcher, doesn't understand why I get so much criticism. Yeah, I probably hated it too much. It's just kind of fun.
Yeah, I will answer. I'll address that in a sec, Julie, because I have so many thoughts. House is on fire. Where can we pause next?
Jasper's back. His hairline has seen better days. We got a slow-mo fight. That's all nice.
Whoa. All right, let's pause on that island. Can we do that? Yeah, so I will just say, Julie, saying you've been rewatching The Witcher, you really don't understand why it gets so much criticism unless it's a book thing, because you still like it. One, I'm very happy for you that you like it. And I would say, I think a lot of the criticism it gets is a book-related thing, but also the video game, because there are kind of like two fandoms that both really love The Witcher, and both of those mediums, the game is like, it's probably the single best adaptation of like a book series moving to a video game that's like ever been done. It is masterful, that video game. And there are things the show does that like they kind of are against the spirit of what the author talks about in the books. So there are just, it's lots of things like that. I do think it probably gets an unfair amount of vitriol, though. I agree with that.
Yeah, there is a bandwagon element.
There totally
But
is.
hey, what can I say? I enjoy a free ride, and it's kind of fun being in a bandwagon sometime. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this season is also a pretty big deal because it's Henry Cavill's last time playing
Yes.
Geralt. And then he's stepping back. He's surrendering the white wig to Liam Hemsworth. And what's on the screen right now is the Isle of Thaned. The Sorceress and Sorcerer School of Aretuza is there, and we are going to be spending quite a lot of time in this location this season, I'm assuming. There's a rather large set piece from the novel this is based on, Time of Contempt,
I recall.
which is at this setting. And we actually just saw a report today from Collider about that set that they built. It took them this is not the set, obviously. We'll see if we can pause on that later, but it took them around 5 months to build the set for Aretuza with like multiple buildings and like alleyways with shops and stuff. And then they wrecked parts of it to film.
Nice. Go
Because
for
that's
it.
what you do in these big productions. Yeah. Any Aretuza thoughts, Dan, before we move on?
I just read Time of Contempt not long ago, and it was a fun scene. And I'm glad they're gonna go whole hog with the big set piece.
Same.
Probably the climax or like that first chunk of episodes, I'm guessing.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't really think about that, but it would make sense. That would leave them 3 episodes though for the back half of the season. What do you do with 3 episodes
What do
after
you mean?
Aretuza
Like,
in
there's a
season
whole
3?
chapter where Ciri's wandering the desert, and then she meets the rats, and there's Geralt and Jaskier catching up in the woods, and all those stories about it. They have enough, and they might go through the next book a little bit too.
Okay, that's fair. Actually, we are expecting them to go into the next book a little bit.
There's a
because
unicorn.
There is a unicorn. Yes, there are unicorns in this series. It will get weird as it goes on. The Witcher is a multiverse story, even if it doesn't feel like it yet.
Oh, well, thank God we have another one of those. I was
He's been
itching for another multiverse
Sapkowski
story.
did it before it was cool. I know you had a multiverse sized void in your life.
Which is hard.
Yeah, let's carry on. Let's find some other cool thing to pause on and talk about. So here's Yennefer looking very serious.
Rolling Green Hills.
Geralt going
Wales.
into a crypt of some kind.
Tenderly touching photos. I love that in movies.
Yep. So that was Tisaya. Can we pause on Fire Guy?
Yeah. There's Yennefer in her H&M dress that people have been criticizing online.
Okay, I'm glad that's not just me. I have not taken to online to criticize any particular outfits, but every time I watch this trailer, and I've seen it a few times now, the outfit here jars me out of the trailer every single time.
It's fine, but it's just funny that you go down to the Gap and just pick this up. It's fine.
Yeah, some of the costuming on this show is fantastic, and some of it's just weird.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? Like the kind of disproportionate way they dress people. Whatever, go on.
Yeah, it is a little bit like the inconsistent. Like if all the costumes were bad, it'd be one thing. If all of them were amazing, it'd be one thing. But it's kind of like they're generally pretty good, and then you'll get one that looks like it came from H&M, and it's like, wait a second. So this guy with the fire, we're expecting to see more of him next season. He is Rince, might be Rince. He is a villain who was hunting Ciri last season for a mysterious benefactor who we do not know who Rince's boss is yet. But apparently in this version of The Witcher, fire magic is a big taboo. That's for Julie. That's one of those book things that's weird for book people because that's not the case in the books. That's a show decision they made for whatever reason. But yeah, we'll be seeing more of him and maybe learning more about who he's working for this season.
Rince.
Okay. Rince. Let's do
it. Fall to the Gap.
That's right.
And this would be
there's
the
Aretuza.
big party Aretuza scene, which I'm sure will be fun. It was fun in the books. I'm sure it'll be fun in the television program. Daniel, will you, because some folk have said, like, I'm not going to watch this after Henry Cavill leaves. Are you one of them?
No.
Oh, look at it. It's
I
a
mean,
slow-mo kind of a giant pill bug.
Yep, they're fighting. I don't know what that bug is.
I'm guessing
looks
that's
a
the
little
desert
like this.
bit.
Well, nah, because Geralt's there helping her fight it.
Oh,
Can we pause on those three people? Those three people in the ballroom. Yeah, the rolling of that looks like a specific monster from the game that I can't think of right now, but a little bit different. Which, there are rights things with The Witcher. They can't just use monsters that were made up for the game. Like they can't use designs from the game. They don't have the rights to that. But it's cool to see a monster like that is still somewhat recognizable. Yeah, so to answer your question, I will be watching, Dan, because it is my job to watch shows like The Witcher. Um, but also because I'll be too curious not to. For me, the ship, as someone who is a fan of the books and games, the ship has sailed for me on being hurt by The Witcher. Like I feel like, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, or whatever that saying is. Apparently I don't know it. I've been fooled too many times.
I think you got it. You just bailed out, but you were right. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me three times. What are we even doing here?
Yeah, so I am definitely past the what are we even doing here point with The Witcher as a franchise. Because of just decisions that it has made throughout all of the spin-offs, all of the seasons. But I'm going to watch it because I want to see what happens. I'll be too curious not to. Do you think you're going to bail on it?
No, I mean, again, because it's the job, but no, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, more or less the exact same thing you said. Curiosity plus employment equals me watching Mr. X Miley Cyrus put on a white wig and a sword and kill monsters. Yeah.
And Julie, it's nice to hear you say that you are looking forward to and don't mind that Liam is replacing Henry Cavill. That's a nice take to hear. And I do think, he has an uphill battle, but Liam Hemsworth was in the running for that role originally too. So I am hopeful that he'll bring a lot of enthusiasm to that job. So I kind of agree with you on that. I'm more excited than nervous for that.
What I really want to know is for Henry Cavill to write his autobiography, I, Henry, and just describe what exactly happened. That's what I really want. But sure, I'll watch the show.
Actor of Steel. Yeah, I would read that in a heartbeat. So these three, I just wanted to touch on them because they are going to be some important players in this season. That is kind of the whole thing with this Aretuza set piece, is that most all of the important players in this world, with a few notable exceptions, but more than ever before, are all going to be in one place for this thing. It's like a summit of powerful people.
It is fun.
So here we have the guy in the background is Vilgefortz of Roggeveen, who is a very notable sorcerer. We've seen him in previous seasons. He's going to have a big season this season. Without going into spoilers, glad to see Vilgefortz in this
Should be a good time, yeah.
It should be, yeah. Then on the right we have Tissaia de Vries, who is the headmistress of the sorceress school at Aretuza.
Dumbledore, if you will.
Dumbledore Tonks, yes. And that actor, her name is eluding me. She actually was a voice in the video games.
Oh, cool.
So I've always loved that she's one of the few who made the leap over to the live action series as a different character. She played Anna Henrietta, who is the Queen of Toussaint in the video games.
That's nice.
And I'm not sure about this character in the front. Do you know who this is, Dan?
No, I don't. But I do want to amend calling her Dumbledora and change that to Dumbledoreen. I think that's funnier.
Yeah, apparently I'm over here laughing. So yes, I think Dumbledoreen is probably a little funnier. My thought with this character in the front is that it could be Kira Metz, who is another notable sorceress. I don't think we've gotten a confirmation for who is playing Kira quite yet. I think we had rumors about who Kira could be, but this could be them. Kira is a character who's relatively minor in the books, but game fans will know her pretty well. She's more prominent in the third Witcher game than she is in the novels, kind of like Eskel last season. Really small role in the books, but the gamers really love him. So could be Kira, could just be another sorceress. We'll find out.
We'll find out. I wonder when it'll
find out.
When the show's coming out. Maybe the trailer will tell us at the end of it. Let's move on and see.
Maybe. Let's do it.
Ooh, Ring of Fire.
Portals.
Not infringement. Oh, that's a portal? Okay, that makes sense.
Family stuff. Yeah, it looked like a portal to me. Torches in the woods. Yennefer on a cliff.
I love saying things that happen. Fighting, people fighting, swords, axes, spinning. So
that's Sherrowed, which is going to be in the season premiere. So there's going to be a big battle there.
Hey, Monster Man.
Oh, that's cool.
Does Jaskier's
I don't know what this scene is with them on a ship.
Anybody else? It looks worse to me.
Whose hair?
Jaskier's hair. It doesn't look as good.
Yeah. He's getting into, his middle age. It's just his haircut's not as nice.
That's not important. June 29th, end of the the month. We'll be reviewing it. We'll be watching it. Bring it on. Any final thoughts about our producer Richard agrees that the haircut looks bad. I think he might be balding, or maybe it's the wig. I don't know. It's the
I'll be honest, I don't hate it. I don't hate it though, because Jaskier hasn't really aged much on this show, and it's kind of ridiculous. And so if they are making him look a little less good, I'm gonna say if it's intentional, maybe it's not intentional, and I'm sorry you got a bad haircut or a bad wig or whatever. But I think making Jaskier a little less suave as we get into the middle of this series is a good call, because he is supposed to have aged like 20 or 30 years by this point since the start of the series. More than that. Yeah. So
I'd say at this point, the ship on making him realistically age has sailed. Might as well just lean into the silliness of making him beautiful forever. But Daniel,
that's fair.
What's next on the agenda?
Well, I think next we want to talk about Dan, what have you been watching or reading? And same for all of you out there.
Yeah.
What have you been watching?
Let us know. It's been nice. I've finished again, Barry wrapped up, Succession wrapped up, Ted Lasso wrapped up. Man. So we've been getting we're watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel now. We're gonna wrap that up. And
How is it? How's the new season?
It's great. It's really, really good. It's already over.
I love that show.
Oh, it's so good. If you haven't watched last season yet, it feels like it's the last season, and that they're, it feels like Endgame level stuff, as so far as
that's nice.
A quick patter comedy about the 50s comedian can be Endgame level stuff. It's not apocalyptic, but it's really fun.
Yeah.
To like flash forward to the 80s and go to like what her future is like and her family. It's great. I'm really enjoying it. And after that, on to Better Call Saul, finish that up, and then on to Severance. After that,
man,
so good
you're
time.
Cruising.
I mean, that's after Mrs. Maisel. I'm trying to watch The Idol, which is HBO's new show from Sam Levinson about the underbelly of the pop industry, and the headline there is it's pretty bad. It's such a bizarre show. Is anybody else trying to watch The Idol about Johnny Depp's daughter is a pop star, and she gets seduced by The Weeknd, who plays this club owner named Tedros. It's got like, there are parts of it that I like. I like the Jocelyn. I like her character. I think Lily Restepp is really giving her all. But there's this story about this mentally struggling pop star who's trying to get back on top. And then there's this ridiculous, stupid element where The Weeknd comes in and is like this cult leader sex guru. And everything involving the pop star and her like just problems is pretty good, with all her like team and her assistant and her managers, and that's all good. And then the weekend it's ridiculous. It turns into like this low rent, like the plot part of a porno without the sex. Like that's kind of the level of story quality that they're giving whenever he's on screen. It's really weird. And I'm like, if you just cut the weekend out of this and his character and his acting, he's also like the weakest actor in the cast. I think the show would be pretty good, but the show literally exists because the weekend produced it and wants to be in it. So it's impossible.
Oh, okay.
That's my take on the idol. Yeah, like he's a producer. It's his show. And he's the worst thing about it. Then. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it's fascinating to hear you talk about how the elements involving his character don't necessarily gel with the rest of the show. Just hearing you describe it. So I have not seen The Idol at all. I've heard obviously the reports about it being weird and exploitative and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's the second thing
which too. is depending on how they do it, because if you're going to look at the music industry and do a show about a young woman pop star in the music industry, in my opinion, it would almost be dishonest to not address stuff like that in some way. But it sounds like that's not really what they did here, because bringing in a weird sex guru cult leader, like, is he actually in a cult?
Kinda. He's like kinda. It's not just that.
Okay.
It's the director, Sam Levinson, clearly. It's one of those shows where you watch and you just kind of think, why don't you just, like, Sam Levinson director, why don't you just go to a sex club and act out your fetishes with another consenting adult rather than like forcing it on the viewing public? Like it feels very leering. It feels very, I mean, exploitative is a good word for it. It feels very like you're showing us these private moments in kind of a grossy, again, very porny way that's not sexy. It's just it feels like maybe it could be a camp classic in the making, because it does feel like unintentionally hilarious sometimes, like sincere but badly made, which is usually the secret formula for camp. If you want to make something really important and serious, but you're bad at it, and it comes together, and then that makes camp, that could happen. It's just it's a mess. It's a mess of a show. But there are things about that I like.
Interesting. Okay.
I do like a lot of the cast. I like it when the weekend's not there. It's weird. It feels like it shouldn't be on HBO, but it is. And Robert Harris is watching Silo. Are you watching that?
Yeah. I have been watching Silo. I've been a little lukewarm on it. So I got into Silo because I'm not intimately familiar, but I know of the books by Hugh Howey that it's based on enough that I was like, well, they made a Silo show, I'm gonna watch it. I'm, I think, 5 episodes in, so I still need to catch up a little bit, but I've been enjoying it. I think there are times where the dialogue feels like a tiny bit silly to me. But in general, I have been enjoying it, and it is, I believe, like the #1 original drama ever on Apple TV. So it just got renewed for a 2nd season. So good news for you there, Robert. Silo is coming back for season 2 as of today. Nice. But yeah, I've been enjoying Silo. I will definitely be continuing to watch it, and I hope that it picks up toward the end of the season, because the beginning of the season was maybe my favorite part so far. I thought it started pretty strong, and in the middle it's kind of wavered a little bit for me. But beyond that, I also saw Across the Spider-Verse, which was excellent. I wasn't sure, with a sequel to just a highly acclaimed movie like that, there's always a question of what will the sequel be like, and basically, like, more Into the Spider-Verse. If you liked Into the Spider-Verse, you are gonna love this one. It does end on a pretty big cliffhanger because it's part 1 of 2. So if you aren't aware of that, maybe be aware of it going in. But yeah, beyond those things, I'm also mentally preparing. I'm fortifying my mind for Black Mirror, which hits Netflix tonight/tomorrow. Um, and season 6, so that should be good and terrifying. I'm very much looking forward to the episode with Annie Murphy, where she sees that a documentary has been made about her life starring Selma Hayek, called Joan is Awful. So yeah, I'm Black Mirror is always a good time. I love that show.
It's
And
fun.
beyond all that, I've been reading this book called Witch King, which is very cool. It's by Martha Wells, who wrote Murderbot. But it's about this demon who wakes up and finds out that they've been betrayed and imprisoned. And Martha Wells does really interesting things with non-human characters. So the demons like go into different bodies in this series. It's very, very cool. The world building reminds me of George R. R. Martin a little bit.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, that's what I've been watching, reading, doing, and then Tears of the Kingdom, which we don't need to talk about, but it's great.
I was gonna say my next book is The Three Body Problem, but I pretty much just been playing Tears of the Kingdom, and I don't think and I have a while to go.
No one...
So I will get to it eventually.
On Tears of the Kingdom?
Yes.
It's a massive game.
Dude,
it's enormous, that game.
I haven't done one of the dungeons yet. It's just so much map. But I will, and then and then I'll read a book, but it's gonna be a minute.
Yes. I think that's one of the cool things, and not to go too off into the weeds on the Tears of the Kingdom, but I love how different people can have totally different experiences with it, like in terms of like how soon you go to the dungeons or what parts of the map you go to. I think that's so cool. My wife is playing it now too, and she hasn't even been to the same zones I've been to. Cool. And we've both put in quite a lot of hours. So
and then you have the under depth, which I spent a lot of time in. God, there's just so much to freaking do.
Reminds me of Elden Ring, the depths.
It does remind me of Elden Ring, another game that took me 30 million hours to beat. Robert Harrod asked, has either of us seen Foundation? I watched a couple episodes, Robert, and then I dropped it because it wasn't really vibing for me. Did you ever watch Foundation, Daniel?
I haven't. I will admit I've been pretty curious about it. Mainly because of Silo, actually. Because it kind of seems like, Apple TV is trying to be the network or the streaming service that is really cornering the sci-fi market, or trying to be aware of what sci-fi properties they're picking a little more intentionally. Like, they're picking very high profile sci-fi things to do, like Foundation and Silo. So I'm curious.
Yeah. I thought it was all right, but I didn't keep up. Also, For All Mankind, another sci-fi thing about the space race, which is excellent. And I have watched that one. I'm still watching that one.
Yes.
Like a TV.
And Extrapolations, which I've heard is less than excellent. I haven't seen it.
There are some dorks over at Apple TV Plus.
Things.
Yeah, they are definitely greenlighting some dorky stuff. Oh, there's also that
Severance is too.
Severance, yeah.
It's in that
There's
category.
Tomorrowland kind of thing that was like a 50s pastiche.
Yes.
But no one watched it. There you go. Yeah. So they love their sci-fi over at Apple.
Yeah, that was the concept of that was fun. It was basically snake oil salesmen selling plots of land on the moon.
It is some fun.
But yeah, for whatever reason, I think sci-fi comedies are so hard to do well and have them take. Now that I stop to think about it, like the Orville managed and kind of grew into its own thing that isn't wholly a comedy anymore. But thinking about Hello Tomorrow, what was that one on HBO? Avenue 5. Ooh. I feel like a few networks have taken swings at the sci-fi comedy in recent years, and not a lot of them have actually landed well.
I mean, this isn't recent, but Futurama still is beloved to this day among several sectors of the fandom. I still love Futurama.
Yeah. And that's coming back, I think next
month.
The Futurama reboot.
Every few years, like clockwork, it comes back. Yeah. So that's one someone's fans. But yeah, in general, sci-fi comedy's been hard to pull off. Man, Avenue 5 was dumb. It's so bad.
Yeah, I fell off pretty early with that one. I like the idea. I like some of the cast, but just for whatever reason, felt profoundly meh.
I'm glad it existed, but it was a
Yes.
strange experiment. And now no one will remember it, and it will be off Max. I'm sure they're right up for a tax thing, and people won't really care because it's not like it had a lot of fans. All right. What's next on the agenda, Dan?
All right. Let's move on, I think, to the world famous WiC News Lightning Round. I think it's time.
Can't take us.
Dan, are you ready to answer questions about current events, headlines to a tight timeline of 200 seconds?
200 seconds? It's got to be. This time we are 20.
I added a 0. 20 seconds.
20 or we are disqualified. So let's go for it.
Okay. All right. I do not remember. I'm gonna ask you. Ask me first.
Okay. Oh, good. Daniel, the CW renewed Superman and Lois for season 4.
Yeah, it's nice to see the CW renew a thing. Because they've axed so many of their shows in this whole reorienting of the network. A lot of people were nervous they were going to cancel Superman and Lois, but they renewed it, which I think means they canceled Gotham Knights, which is their only other remaining DC show, which shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, really.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
All right. Speaking of the CW, one thing they will be doing, aside from not Gotham Knights, is that they're going to air 3 seasons of a show about Jesus. Take that, writer's strike.
It's called The Chosen, and it's okay. So I was a little it's not a show that they're making. It's like a show that already exists, and now they're going to.
You're very quiet.
Well, I don't mean to be. It's called The Chosen, and they're gonna run it.
All right. He says it's called The Chosen. I think that's what I heard. Jokes were probably made.
Popular guy. Sorry, I'm quiet. I don't know what's happening. Microphone's plugged in.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what little I could glean from that, you out there, I don't know if you guys can hear Dan or not. Basically, Jesus is the popular guy, so this move makes sense. It's a little bit of a weird thing for them to do, though, just because they can't be hiring writers right now. So, yeah. Are you back?
I think so.
Like it.
I think it was the dongle. Back. Yeah, whatever. Okay, we'll move on. Jesus show's coming to the CW. All right, Daniel.
You sure? You have anything else to say on it? You're good.
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't want to deprive you.
Everyone knows Jesus.
Jesus.
Jesus Christ, get off my back. Okay, Daniel.
Yes.
Cormac McCarthy, author of The Road and Blood Meridian, very notable author, No Country for Old Men, has passed away at the age of 89.
Yes. So sad news. Cormac McCarthy passed away yesterday. I don't know if they have announced what the cause of death was, but when you're 89, I think we can pretty safely assume it was probably natural causes.
Yeah.
And yeah, like Dan said, very notable author. Sad to see him go. Lived a very full life and wrote a lot of books. On a lighter note, we got some new images from season 2 of The Wheel of Time. Let's take a look at one.
Yeah, it's happening. Perrine Bar, Marcus Rutherford. I'm glad to see this show getting some press. I thought it was a good first season. I'm glad it's coming back, and I hope it catches on. I know it has its fans, I know it's popular, but I hope it becomes a big deal. I'd like that if The Wheel of Time ended up being a really big popular TV show, because the book series has been around forever, and the TV show should follow suit. Oh, that was so perfect. I scare myself. All right, Daniel.
Yes.
Disney just rearranged its schedule. It pushed back Avatar 3 by a year, I think from 2024 to 2025. It pushed back 2 Avengers movies, The Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, back by a year too. So they're like going to be a year later. The Avatar 4 and 5, they're pushed back by 3 years into the 2030s at this point. So basically, they're delaying everything.
Oh, the 2030s.
The last one is
I mean,
2031.
oh, I watched the first one in college. I'm gonna be an old man writing about Avatar.
You'll be in your 40s.
This isn't a huge surprise because of the writer's strike. Everything's being rearranged and reshuffled. I'm basically taking any of the release dates for Disney, Marvel, Star Wars with a total grain of salt until we're
Yeah.
like 6 months out because they've changed them so much at this
I agree.
point.
Star Wars especially, it's
nothing.
like, yeah, I will believe it when it happens.
I don't even believe any of the movies are happening. When they come out, I will believe it because they've even released trailers and teasers for stuff like
that
Rogue Squadron
thing,
and then scrapped it. So that's another thing where it's like fool me once, Lucasfilm. But at this point it's been like 5 or 6 times, and
yeah, fool me 7 times. Time to get a restraining order. Yeah, okay, hit me.
Yeah, that. All right, Dan. So filming for the final season of Outlander is officially on hold, and this is also due to the writer's strike.
Yeah, of course. Outlander, like every other scripted show, is scripted and needs writers to script it, unless you want to use robots, which you can try. Someone's got to try it. Come on, let's get it over with.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
And they're going to delay filming season 8 until the writers are back. So just Hollywood, come on, end this. It's getting boring. I want to hear more about the strike. I wish that we heard more about what's happening. I mean, we have like, okay, we got to move on, but I hope it gets resolved in sooner rather than later. Just cut your losses, studios. Come on, you're not going to win this. Just give them some stuff. Come on. Okay.
Public perception is against them at this point.
Well, doesn't it would turn if they whatever later. Okay.
Well, yeah, it would turn if they paid their right. Yes, but let's carry on.
Disney Plus added a new scene to the original Avatar. It's a new scene that sets up the sequels.
I hate this. I hate this.
Okay.
I hate this. Well, it's just a very small throwaway scene that they added to the end of the first Avatar, which is one of the lesser villains basically being like, it's not over. It disrupts the flow of the scene around it, and it's a scene that James Cameron, in all of his extended cuts of the movie, chose not to include. There are 3 versions of extended avatars, and this scene wasn't good enough to make it into them. So why is it on Disney Plus? Anyway,
because it's not over.
That's my
There's
rant.
2, 3, 4, 5 in 2031 to come. Okay, hit me.
I just don't understand why they wouldn't just make the extended collector's cut available on Disney Plus instead of this hodgepodge edit. That's all.
Pay for it elsewhere. That's why. Okay, go on.
That's fair. Yes. All right. So Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man in the MCU, he is taking a year-long hiatus from acting following his new show, The Crowded Room.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on this?
No, come back to us, Tom Holland. We need you. The world needs you. I mean, yeah, he played like a serial killer or a cannibal or something in The Crowded Room, and he said it was very intense. Take a year off acting.
Yeah.
Sony just wants him to play Spider-Man again. He's like being vague about it. I don't know if it'll happen. He kind of sounds a little over it.
Yeah,
that's fine. Do whatever you want, Tom Holland. None of my business.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot to mention that during What Are We Watching? I have seen a little bit of The Crowded Room as well. He's really good in it.
Who does he play? A serial killer, cannibal?
It is not. I don't think a cannibal. It's not clear exactly what all has happened where I am in the show yet. So
gotcha.
Becomes clearer as the show goes on. But his acting he's a very different sort of character than he's ever played before. He's not an action hero-y type, very anxious, very kind of subdued performance, and he really nails it. So go lay on a beach somewhere, Tom. You deserve it.
Almost done here. We got Daniel, Arnold Schwarzenegger and James Cameron apparently argued over the iconic "I'll be back" line in The Terminator.
Yeah, I love this. So in the new Arnold documentary on Netflix, Schwarzenegger reveals that originally that line was I'll come back. It was meant very literally. Then it wasn't working. Cameron said, just say I'll be back. And Arnold was like, that it should sound more robotic, like I will be back. Voice. And James Cameron was like, are you the writer? No, don't tell me how to fucking right. Like,
I don't care
said
if you're
that to
7
Arnold
feet tall and
Schwarzenegger.
300 pounds of muscle. You will respect me.
And Arnold makes light of it. He's like, obviously he was right, because look at that line. We all quote it decades later.
I'd like to hear your Arnold Schwarzenegger impression sometime, but we can do that later.
I don't
All
have
right.
one.
Everybody has an Arnold impression. Every single person can at least try one.
I have too much respect, Dan, to try it.
Are you afraid? He's old. You can outrun him now. Okay. Finally hit
I'll
me with the last one.
The forest. Yes. Okay. The last one. Neil Gaiman and the Good Omens fandom are very upset because Amazon, they revealed, they're calling it a leak. It's not a leak. Amazon revealed an important plot point in a trailer, and they are very upset.
I mean, Amazon revealed a little something that happened. I don't know if it's important or not. It's just a random moment, and the fandom is very upset. I won't spoil it here, but yeah, they revealed something. It's a bit of a fan narrative thing happening. They convince themselves they're important. They that the thing's important. Convince themselves that they can do something about it by talking about it a lot. And that's about it. It's fine. I'm looking forward to the show. Man. I like the first season. I will watch Good Omens season 2 when it comes out this summer.
Spicy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. And that thank you, Andrew. Glad you caught the end of the show. Glad to be back.
Oh, yeah. And we will be back next Wednesday, as we are every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you. I was hoping to say that.
Yeah.
We're back at Central Standard Time, 2 p.m., 3 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Mountain, and noon on the West Coast, and much earlier in Australia. Sorry, Julie. Yeah, we're also available in podcast form wherever podcasts are downloadable, be it iTunes, Google Play, or elsewhere. We'll see you next week. In the meantime, I'm going to rub my eye on some golden rings. Goodbye.
That's right. Take care, y'all.